Hello. I'm in an odd and a rather interesting space. I thought I'd see about sharing it with you. Um, I'm reminded again lately by how much through these journals I'm speaking with myself or to myself. The things that come through apply just as much to me as to anyone. Now, I want to speak, for one thing, about pain. And oftentimes in the past, when I've come to you uh, to share with you the growth and the blessing, the lesson, the development I find in pain, or just to share the pain itself, I come in the midst of it. It's important to me to be authentic. And I come to you from heart or through heart, and not from a mental perspective, not from an analytical perspective. You rarely see that. I mean, it's mixed in there because we're not purists down here. We're quite a mixture, an admixture of various things. And you know that my joy is in flexible perspective, in being able to look at things from new angles, always different angles. And I do a lot of that. Okay, it came to me this morning that we've been so programmed to run away from pain, to not talk about it, to not be negative, to keep the stiff upper lip, yada, yada, yada. It goes on and on. I don't know how you were schooled and trained in your environment, your family, and so on, but it happens to all of us in one way or another. And so we find stacked many levels deep this programming that we've received. Now we're all rising up in consciousness. Frankly, you can't help that. It's happening. It's happening as the Earth and the solar system, and I don't know how wide it is, the galaxy, universe, cosmos, I don't know. But at any rate, we're here. And so let's keep the focus closer to home base here. And the vibration and the frequency is rising. It's measurable. The Schumann resonance is no longer stable and steady. The magnetic fields around the sun and the earth, likely the other planets as well, are not as reliable now. They shielded us from a lot that is now getting in. Now, personally, I don't have any kind of problem with that. I want to pick up the radiation. The bodies that we're wearing are shifting and changing into higher dimensions. And so we won't be affected like that. It will be a day and an age of miracles. And that's really just science on higher levels that we haven't yet discovered and uncovered yet. And it's fun that it seems miraculous here, but I have a great deal of faith that there's underlying structure and resonance in all of it. So anyway, where am I here? All right, it crossed my mind that in order to tackle the subject or begin to wrap our arms around it, I think all of us, when we first start out into a new perspective, we have a bit of distance from it. And that's a good thing. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And so I'm going to be a little bit analytical with the pain here and talk about it instead of from within it. Will it work? I don't know. Let's find out. All right. Center and heart, please. My closest friend, and I've spoken about this off and on a good bit, I guess you could say, rejected me fairly recently and walked away, and wasn't even responsive to messages or emails or anything. It was just the way I was thinking about it this morning was it was as if it was a throwing away of the baby along with the bathwater. Now, keep in mind that's just a narrow perspective. Her perspective on things, which I'm kind of clueless about, is very important here as well. So, what I've noticed lately, I've had several things that have brought me pain of one kind or another. As another, for instance, the VA recently cut off my pain medication with no explanation, no notification, nothing, and told me I'll have to wait until next week because the doctor's out to find out why or what. Well, you know, I was in tears over that. That was a bit scary, you know. So there's another kind of pain. When we get when we just watch the pain, this watching and observing, my friends, is so awesomely powerful. It really is. And I don't understand it. I don't know why. I don't know any of that. I just know that it's powerful. I'd like us to start, if you would, from anchoring in heart, where you can find an awareness that you're a great and powerful being of light, that this is an experience that you've chosen to have, but anything and everything that's happened or is happening during this experience limits you in no way, shape, or form. You are magnificent. You have probably 3% of yourself manifest here in this level and dimension. You're a higher dimensional being already. And ultimately powerful. And this can be looked at in a whole great big bunch of different ways. You can call it the Christ consciousness or the inner divinity. You can go any way, anywhere you want with it. I just want to get the basics here. Come from a point of power. We're in process, all of us, of taking our power back. We've given it away. Everywhere you look, we've given it away. To the school systems, to the Illuminati, to the television, the media, to relationships, to, oh my God, you name it. And at least in my own personal life, I'm seeing magnificently how, or at least where, we've given our power away. So let me get specific again. In the relationship with my friend, the temptation is to blame and to be angry and all of that kind of thing. Well, we can transcend that easily enough, because as we keep staying in heart with it and staying in heart with it, feeling the pain and yet just staying in heart, we're shown, we're illuminated, we're educated on things. And so I see again and again and again the victim consciousness there that says, oh, I have been wronged. Oh, I was the innocent one. Do you see that little dance going on? And all of that pain and feeling smashed and stomped on and thrown away. Do you see how that's playing the victim? There are blessings and benefits in everything, bar nothing. I don't care what it is. And so here, some of what I'm learning in this particular level and layer is simply to recognize and back off from playing the victim. We know that we magnetize what appears in our life to us. This is choice. It might not be my conscious choice to go through this awful, painful thing. I mean, that was the most precious friendship I had. But at a higher self level, that's the choice that's been made. And so I have ultimate faith in my higher self. in the God within, that which we connect with through heart, whatever it is. It's unspeakable, but anyway. So I know I've brought this into my life, and I know there's blessing and benefit. Now, we look for the lessons, perhaps. One of the things that was coming to me that I was seeing in myself is I'm not willing to trust now. Should she make an overture, there's still a woundedness that's there. Now, this is my own stuff. This isn't anything I need to point fingers of blame about. This is a gift to me. It's from me and it's to me to see myself in action, because it's in our relationships that this stuff best shows up. I was shown that yesterday. We carpooled up to the weekly meeting in Harrison, Arkansas, for the Arkansas Republic, one of the 50 states in the re-inhabited republic for the United States with a little u, going back to our original founding and structure and organization. As we were in the car and as the conversation was going back and forth, and keep in mind, ye old hermit here, okay? I don't have interactions with people face-to-face very often. And as I was watching the conversation go down, and I was watching myself, listening to what I was saying, and I was being surprised. I found that I was excited and fiery about certain things that I didn't realize that was in there. That there was that intensity of, you hook in to higher energy, and there's a power that can flow through what you speak. And I was watching that and being amazed, even that the particular topics and so on. So we don't know the self all that well. And our relationships are really grand opportunities, not just to get to know one another, but to get to know yourself. And the beauty of the Ho'oponopono, too, that's organic. If no one ever knew about that beautiful practice of ancient Hawaii, you could still come to it just by being in heart and being real and being willing to embrace pain, willing to not point and judge. You come to it as you embrace the oneness of all that is. This is the natural state, and it's in the midst of acknowledging that very oneness. And I think often and usually in relationships it comes up, the pain, the difficulty, the challenge, or you have a loved one that needs healing or something, and so we're seeing something that's not quite right. And when we recognize our ultimate quantum entanglement, our oneness, our union, we have to be open to see that in self. We've magnetized that. It's there staring at us. It's looking us in the face in our life because it's inside of us in some way. Now, of course, defining the I is huge, and we're not going into that here. Go to my other journals for that. But don't anybody assume that you know who and what I is, means, represents, contains, whatever. And so we're breaking all the limits. We're breaking the barriers down. And we're refusing to be locked in little cages and bound by ideas and concepts and strictures and structures established by others. This is a time of ultimate authenticity for each one. Right there within you is the wholeness of all that is, all that lives, all that ever has been, ever will be. Right here, right now, right there where I am, right there where you are. It's fractal. It's completely united. It's a total illusion, this separateness that we're dealing with in 3D. It has its own sort of reality, and of course it's a really good thing to know that my car is separate from that other car in front of me there, so I don't smash into it. Okay, so I'm not invalidating the separateness. I'm just saying it's not the deeper reality, which is the union and the oneness of everything that is. All right, so where am I going with this? I just want everyone to step into their own power. It cancels out fear entirely. As we begin to recognize who and what we are more and more, you cannot define it. It can't be defined. It can't be boxed and caged in words. It's truth. And when you've got truth with a capital T, there's nothing relative about it. It's ultimate. Remember paradox, though, because you can have both seeming opposites and both of them be real and at the same time, but you have to be in higher dimensions for that. This isn't something mind can do that I'm aware of yet. I don't know, maybe mind is morphing itself into something else. I kind of looked at it in the past that there was this 3D mind that was very much connected up with the brain. And when I incarnate into a new body, I come in as the spirit being. I guess we could call it the soul, the essence, something like that. But just like I get a new physical body, along with that, it's a package deal. There's a new emotional body, there's a new mental body as well. We really do get to start fresh, and a lot is contained within the soul and the spirit. A lot of other things are contained actually within the biology. Is recorded the whole history of you and all of your ancestry and everything else. It's there in the DNA. You carry those other beings within as through you. And so defining self, just so you lean towards divinity with it, that's good, because it's a lot easier to experience the self than it is to define it or to try to do that. And so if we come from this place or point or perspective of power, in the kingdom of heart, you're the sovereign. Now, you don't rule all of life, all of cosmos. You rule the self, but you are sovereign. No, choices are not forced upon you. You reign. And so when we go into that kind of a space and look at life and look at our relationships and take that thing that's hurt you the most recently and really just be with it. Be with the pain. That's one of the biggest gifts there is. And it's a door we have to walk through if we want the gifts, the graces, and the blessings that are there. We don't get it by keeping that pain at arm's distance. That's just a way to keep your motor in neutral. And as we are willing to just be in the pain and to feel it, and just to let it be, not to judge it or condemn it, just to be with it, to be in the now with it, because it's a legitimate part of your now, or it wouldn't be there. Things come up for a reason. That's a kind of a magical doorway. And there's no limiting what can come when we're willing to do this. It's awesome and it's amazing. And it won't turn you into a masochist exactly, going out and seeking situations of pain. But the ones that life brings to you, you'll find yourself less and less likely to run away from them. You might hold them at some distance, but it won't be quite so much. And you're empowered, you see. The biggest thing is whatever is underneath the pain. As we look at it, as we sit with it, what we will see is the endless ways we have given our power away. And doing the victim dance is one of the biggest displays of that. That's how I have given my power away. And there's no need to try to fix anything. There's no need to try to repair the relationship in the external world. There's no need to try to fix or medicate the pain on the internal level. I'm just talking about being and letting things be as they are. This is the magical doorway. People call it the now. Other people misunderstand and think it's voodoo or hocus pocus or whatever. There's something here. There's something here that's very, very empowering if you approach it like that. Come from your place, your point of power in your chest as you look at things, as you perceive things, especially things that are important to you. Situations with people that are important to you. Get out of your head. Get out of the judge that sits up there and puts points on either side, back and forth, Or on the other hand, there's a knower that sits up here that wants to understand, or there's one that wants to crack the whip at the situation or the person that's creating the pain and point the whole entire focus outside. And none of that is useful. None of that is as empowering as what I've been sharing here. Just going and being with it, but being with it not from a point or a place of weakness or disempowerment, but take up your throne in your heart. Recognize that there's a divinity resident where you are. You don't have to understand it. I'm not saying you're God or anything like that, but you are an atom in the body, in the awareness of God. You are an element of God's consciousness because God is omnipresent. Or the isness, or that which is, or I liked Gautama Buddha's undifferentiated suchness. Okay, this is not a personal God. This is very impersonal. Let's get more into the impersonality of things. Let's get that distance that we need to stand back and observe. God's blessings to you. See you again soon.